Okay, so you know how some battles are just straight up legend? Like you hear about them and think, no way that really happened. Well, let me tell you about the Battle of Isenloft. This insane last stand where humanity basically screamed, "Not today!" at a bunch of nightmare monsters trying to end the world. It's got elemental titans, flesh beasts, frozen magic and a dude named Jarl Rathe, who might just be the baddest man to ever swing a polearm and almost as cool as the Lich King. So picture this. Most of the world's already toast. These things called the Old Ones showed up. They're not just monsters. They're like wrong, reality breaking, mind bending, eldritch horror vibes. Cities? Gone. Civilizations? Cooked. What's left of humanity huddled in 3 places. Oldengrove, which kept the people fed, Valahai, where all the magic power stuff happened, and Isenloft, this giant frozen fortress built to hold the line. But when the end of the world came knocking, not everyone ran. The Olin were the last line of defense in a world on the brink. More than just soldiers, they were warriors, chosen, or maybe doomed, to fight at the edge of extinction. Hardened by endless war and empowered by the ancient themselves, they stood where others fell, facing horrors beyond mortal comprehension. Each carried the weight of humanity's survival on their shoulders, united not by blood, but by the will to endure. The Olin weren't just fighting for victory, they were fighting for a future. Alright, up on Isenloft's icy walls, things were already chaos. Archers firing, monsters called, reveneers climbing up like scorpions with murder in their eyes. One wayfarer, basically a scout archer guy, gets torn open by this reveneer thing. His guts are out, it's bad. And then Jarl shows up. That dude doesn't even flinch, just smashes the guy and the monster with one swing of his massive polearm. Boom! Both of them explode in blood and guts. It's disgusting, but it's effective. And it makes everyone stop and stare like, did he really just do that? Spoiler? Yeah, he did. That's just how Jarl rolls. Now, here's the thing about Jarl. In the tales of old, he was the fury of the Frostlands, tempered for battle by the elemental powers of the ancients, a guardian with an insatiable thirst for violence, fighting for the last vestiges of humanity in an age of pure carnage. At the Battle of Isenloft, Rathe's final stand against the Old Ones, Jarl Rathe fought at the vanguard of the Olin, first into the fray. With concentrated might, they repelled the ravenous hordes, and Jarl's reputation reinforced with every brutal swing of his weapon. Jarl hails from the icy fortress of Isenloft, deeply attuned to both ice and earth, but it's the northern winds that truly sing to him. That cold, merciless power courses through his veins, freezing not just armor, but the very soul of anyone who dares to face him. Such a badass. On the battlefield, he shows just how fragile heroes and their precious gear really are. One moment you think you're safe behind your shield, the next your equipment shatters like brittle glass, and then it's your flesh that follows. While he's no stranger to picking up a shield himself, Jarl's true power shines when the fight stretches on. With every drawn out moment, his weapon, Summit the Unforgiving, becomes more deadly. The longer you survive, the worse it gets, and most don't survive for long. So back to Isenloft. The archers are freaking out, but the commander, Karl Sharp, snaps them back into action. Meanwhile, Jarl keeps doing his things. Grabs a monster by the head, squeezes till it pops like an overripe melon. It's nasty and awesome. Everyone clears the way when he walks by, like even wizards. Doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or fresh out of Indian training academy. You don't mess with Jarl. Even Oldhim, the legendary old war general, once told the recruits, don't ever get between Jarl and whatever he's trying to kill. That kinda sets the tone. Down in the belly, it's a war movie cranked to 11. Shield walls bracing against endless monsters. Synvari, an unknown runeblade wielder, directed Valahai runeblades carefully to strike down the Old One's creations with glowing blades and glittering symbols of arcane potency. Karl Sharp, leader of the archers, fires a lightning bolt that signals thousands of archers to rain frozen death from above. It's chaos. The Old Ones aren't just sitting back either. They scream across the mountains, this horrible sound that drives people insane. Then they start vomiting up poison like siege weapons. Rangers literally melt off the walls, and still, Isenloft holds. Then the real boss shows up, Bloodgore. Imagine a giant, like the size of a mountain, made out of stitched together meat and teeth, just the nastiest Frankenstein baby of 1,000 creatures. Jarls sees it and doesn't hesitate. Leaps off the wall, literally jumps, lands on its giant head and caves in its skull like it's a watermelon at the summer barbecue. He channels ice magic from this enormous ancient called Galcia, who's like a living glacier. Freezes one head solid, pops another one's eyes with its own mandibles. Jarl is just putting in work. But Bloodgore's not done. One head grabs him and swallows him whole. Everyone thinks that's it. He's gone. We're screwed. Even time itself seems to pause. People stop fighting. Hope kinda dies a little. Then Oldhim sees it. A burst of gore. Jarl literally cuts his way out of Bloodgore from the inside. Covered in blood and guts, armor wrecked, cloak in tatters, but alive. Standing. And as a fun fact, in the article they described the blood on Jarl himself froze immediately because he was just that cold. That's when the entire fortress cheers. Everyone who still had a fight in them, they bring it back tenfold. But of course, nothing good lasts for long. Bloodgore doesn't stay dead. Nah, its meat forms two new versions, even bigger and uglier than before. Reveneers start throwing themselves into it to build it back up. Meanwhile, Galcia, the Titan of Ice, is being smothered. Drowned in monsters, the Reveneers crawl upon it till you can't see Galcia anymore. Jarl calls out to Galcia for help, but nothing. The power's gone. Just when it seems like he's gonna get swallowed for real this time. Boom! Lights flash in the sky. Two other ancients, Ivor and Davnir, had fallen, but they didn't go quietly. Their deaths unleash these insane, blizzard-level explosions of elemental magic. The entire battlefield freezes. Bloodgore shatters. The Reveneers crack like statues. And Jarl? Frozen in place. Armor stiff, lips locked in a scowl, but alive. The war wasn't over. Not forever. But for that moment, for Isenloft, it was enough. When the blizzard cleared and the battlefield lay silent, only ice and ruin remained. The Ancient had unleashed their final, desperate act, one last cataclysm to stop the Old Ones. And in doing so, they didn't just destroy the enemy. They froze everything. Jarl and the Olin, locked in their final stand, were entombed in that moment, sealed beneath the frost, weapons still raised, fury still burning behind unmoving eyes. Years passed. The monsters of the Third Age faded into myth, but deep in the Isen ranges, something stirred. The pulse of the ancients still whispered through the ice, and by the will of the flow, Jarl thawed, reborn into a transformed Rathe. Long trapped beneath the cold, he rose filled with fury. Now, no matter where he travels or what stands in his way, war is what he will find. And Arya? Arya tells fearsome tales of the blood he leaves behind.